I have pursued Su Baizhu 5 times, each time with a different appearance. Every time, I was a handsome man. The last time, she looked down on me. Zhu Keikun, stop following me. Even if you turn to ash, I'd still recognize you. Let me tell you the truth. Even if I jumped from here, I would never be with you. The system coldly informed me that the mission had failed. I resigned myself to waiting for another deletion from the system. Death came as expected. After waking up, the system asked me, "Host, do you want to change your pursuit target?" I stood in front of the mirror, admiring my appearance. Just like the 5 times before, I was still a handsome man this time, a face on par with Daniel Wu. 18-pack abs, so handsome that even I would fall in love at first sight. Why isn't Su Baizhu interested? Her sharp voice from the previous life echoed in my ears. Zhu Keikun, stop following me. Even if you turn to ash, I'd still recognize you. Even if I jumped from here, I would never be with you. It was those words from her that declared my 5th pursuit a failure. 3 days later, I died young in a car accident. When I opened my eyes again, I had become Yi Chu. That's right, this is my current name. 23 years old, an office worker who just recently graduated. I lay on the sofa for a while. The system slowly appeared. This is our 6th time working together. We're old partners by now. I just came back from a meeting at headquarters, so I was a little late. I didn't mind. I didn't have anything to do anyway. Is your body better? Sorry, I let you die a bit miserably last time, but that was the fastest and most direct way. This time, let's study the plan carefully. I don't believe we can't take down that Su Baizhu. The system chattered endlessly in my head. I've heard this 5 times already. There's basically no hope. Wait, what's this? Why is there another option on the pursuit list? Bai Ningbing. Isn't she Su Baizhu's best friend? Hearing the system's surprised voice, I looked in surprise at the virtual screen before me. I discovered that the situation was indeed different this time. Just as the system said, there was another name on the pursuit target list this time. Bai Ningbing. What's going on? Does this mean I can choose one of these two? Right. A long time later, the system's slightly excited voice rang out again. Hey, host, guess what? It turns out that starting this month, the Transmigration Bureau is implementing a reform. The pursuit target can be chosen from one of 2 options. Sorry, I dozed off during the meeting this afternoon. I just asked a colleague, and now I understand. So, do you want to change your pursuit target this time? Bai Ningbing. I think she's quite beautiful too, but all beautiful women are hard to please. Traumatized. It wasn't just the system that was traumatized. In fact, I was too. Being deleted 5 times in a row, experiencing terminal illness, being shot, car accidents, a series of normal and abnormal ways to die. I was really a bit scared. Before, I might have deluded myself into thinking I could make Su Baizhu fall in love with me, but now, I just want to survive. I'm not that close with Bai Ningbing, but we have interacted a few times. After all, I started pursuing Su Baizhu since I was 16, and Bai Ningbing is one of Su Baizhu's closest friends. In Hucheng, she has the surname Bai. Her identity is as clear as day. I'm not sure what kind of guy this young lady of the Bai family prefers, so I spent the whole weekend at home reviewing my past lives, the events and occasions where I had contact with her. After sorting through the timelines of my past few lives, I was surprised to find that it seemed in every life I had some sort of intersection with Bai Ningbing. One was when I knew her. We went to the same school. I was in the 10th grade, and she and Su Baizhu were in the 11th grade, and they were in the same class. Back then, I had just been bound by the system. The pursuit target was Su Baizhu. I pretty much showed up at their classroom door every day. Sometimes I brought drinks for Su Baizhu, sometimes fruit, and sometimes the latest comics. But Miss Su was naturally arrogant and cold. I gave her gifts for a whole semester, but she barely paid me any attention. Her best friend Bai Ningbing finally couldn't take it anymore. She jokingly patted her shoulder and said, "Su Baizhu, what's wrong with you? This underclassman is so handsome and well-behaved. If you don't like him, I'm going to steal him." Hey, underclassman, how about you stop pursuing her and pursue me instead? I'm easy to win over. One time, I was bullied by a group of thugs outside of school. Bai Ningbing happened to be passing by. Without a word, she rushed forward to stand in front of me. I've never hit a man before, so don't force me to make an exception. This student, Zhu Keikun, is under my protection. If anyone dares to touch a single hair on his head today, I guarantee I'll make them regret it. The leader of the thugs didn't know who she was. After hearing Bai Ningbing's cheesy speech, he sneered. He immediately made a call to summon a bunch of his godfathers and sworn brothers. Bai Ningbing rolled up her sleeves, her expression showing she was ready to face death. I looked at her, trembling, panicked, and unsure of what to do. She grabbed one of my hands tightly. Run, Zhu Keikun. That afternoon, Bai Ningbing held my hand as we ran for our lives through the small alleys of the East District. Luckily, in the end, it was a close call, but we were safe. Before the 11th grade final exams, since Su Baizhu was about to go to college, I wanted to take a chance. So I found an opportunity to confess to her. She rejected me decisively. The system declared my pursuit a failure. In the first week of summer vacation, I was diagnosed with cancer. The disease progressed very quickly. I even died before the 12th grade started. The second life came quickly. This time, I still became their classmate, but in the same grade. Su Baizhu and Bai Ningbing's grades were both very good. They both attended a top 3 university in the country. As usual, I passionately pursued Su Baizhu. Even though I had a different body, a different face, she was still indifferent to me because she had money, looks, and good grades. Many guys pursued Su Baizhu in college. Unsurprisingly, I was still the most persistent one. The entire freshman year of college passed. Su Baizhu remained hot and cold with me. I was a little discouraged. I even started to suspect if Su Baizhu was a lesbian. I planned to ask Bai Ningbing about it, but I discovered that the two of them seemed to have had a falling out. Strange, weren't they very close in high school? Even girls can have fake friendships. During the summer break of my freshman year, I returned to Hucheng. That's right, my second identity's hometown was also Hucheng. That day, I was browsing in a bookstore when I happened to run into someone I knew. My brain suddenly short-circuited. I actually greeted her. Bai Ningbing. She looked up, looking at me with a puzzled expression. I suddenly realized that she didn't recognize me in this identity at all. Even though we went to the same university, I had never spoken a single word to Bai Ningbing. I had to awkwardly explain. We go to the same university. Zhang Zhao, from the broadcasting department. Her attitude was a bit cold, but she still nodded at me. When I was paying, a child bumped into me. I bent down to pick up the book that had fallen, but a hand was faster than me and picked it up. Looking up, I found it was Bai Ningbing. She didn't return it to me right away. Instead, she just stared at the comic book for a long time. I said thank you to her. After a long moment, she absent-mindedly handed me the book. I thought she looked strange. Her whole being seemed to be shrouded in sadness. I didn't know if something had happened in her family. This was my only interaction with Bai Ningbing in my second life, because not long after that encounter, my confession to Su Baizhu failed. I was deleted by the system for the second time. While strolling through a mall one weekend, I was shot in the head by a vicious thug. After that, the third life. The fourth life. I had an intersection with Bai Ningbing almost every time, and there were always more intersections than in the second life. Perhaps it was because Su Baizhu and Bai Ningbing's friendship had been mended. When the fifth pursuit began, the two of them had already graduated from college. They returned to Hucheng and worked in their family companies. That night, a group of rich young ladies went camping on Kaifeng Mountain. I went too, and I confessed to Su Baizhu in front of a cliff. Just as I was nervously waiting for an answer, Su Baizhu's cold, heartless voice rang out. Zhu Keikun, stop following me. Even if you turn to ash, I'd still recognize you. Let me tell you the truth. Even if I jumped from here, I would never be with you. In that instant, I felt like I had been struck by lightning. Zhu Keikun was my name in my first life. It turned out Su Baizhu had known for a long time that I was a raider. For the past 5 lives, I was like a dancing clown in front of her, constantly struggling and then dying, struggling and then dying. Or to her, I was more like a monster that kept reincarnating. After Su Baizhu exposed my identity, I dazedly walked down the mountain. There was no doubt. This life's mission had failed again. I knew I was about to be deleted. I just didn't know what kind of death it would be this time. Facing the impending doom, my whole body began to tremble uncontrollably. At the same time, I was sinking into an extreme panic and despair. Su Baizhu had discovered I was a raider. Even if I started over a 6th time, I couldn't possibly succeed unless I could make her lose her memory. I frantically called for the system, but I received no reply. Just then, a sports car passed by me and stopped. After the car window rolled down, I recognized the person. Bai Ningbing. In the 5th life, I had a few more intersections with her. We were something like casual acquaintances. This was probably why she stopped the car, leaving so early. She asked me. I tried to calm down and nodded, replying with a, yeah, it's at least a 4-hour walk down the mountain from here. Get in. She said again. Actually, I didn't really want to get in the car. One reason was that even though I'd known Bai Ningbing for 5 lives, I still wasn't very close to her. Second, I knew I was about to die. What if the system arranged for me to be hit by a meteor this time, and I was in her car? Wouldn't that implicate her? Although it sounds a bit absurd, ever since the incident at the mall, where I was shot in the head by a thug, I felt that any way of dying wouldn't be strange for me. So I politely refused her. Bai Ningbing frowned, her expression serious. I should remind you, the police in this area often receive cases of sexual assault against single men. Her words made me get in the car without hesitation. There was no other reason. I just didn't want to experience being raped and then murdered for the time being. After getting in the car, I was very quiet. Anyone in my mood right now wouldn't be in a good mood. Bai Ningbing was also very quiet. I wondered if she was in a bad mood too. Not long after, my phone rang. It was Su Baizhu calling. I hesitated for a moment, but still answered the call. I put the phone to my ear. You left? She asked me over the phone. You know I did. So why ask? I swallowed and answered her. Yeah, Zhu Keikun. She called my original name over the phone. Her tone was lazy. Don't start over again if you're not tired of it. I am. I hope tonight is the last time we meet. That's all. After saying that, she hung up without hesitation. I sat in the passenger seat, my heart clenching. It was an indescribable pain. I don't know where I went wrong. Pursuing Subaiju for 8 years, from the first life to the 5th, from my initial enthusiasm, filled with love, to later being anxious about gains and losses, restless and worried, constantly changing identities. I had no relatives, and even fewer friends, like a lonely, soulless corpse, wandering this world. I don't know when, but my heart became overgrown with weeds, desolate and lonely. What was even sadder was that days like this would continue indefinitely. It would never end, until a tissue was handed to me. I didn't realize that I had shed a tear without warning. I felt very embarrassed for a moment. Bai Ningbing would probably think I had a mental problem, so I quickly told her, "After we get down the mountain, you can just drop me off at the bus stop." She didn't react after hearing that. When the car was approaching the bus stop, Bai Ningbing suddenly asked me, "Do you know where to get a late-night snack?" I couldn't react in time. What? I'm a little hungry. So that's what it was. But as the young lady of the Baishi group, how could she not know where to find a late-night snack? She hesitated, explaining, "I suddenly have a craving for barbecue, but I haven't had it in a long time. The places I used to go seem to have all closed down." No wonder. This question wasn't difficult for me. I quickly gave her directions to a roadside barbecue stall. Just as I was about to say goodbye, she called out to me again, "Want to eat together?" I don't really like barbecue. I'm afraid of the internal heat. So I smiled at her and shook my head. "Thanks, but I'm not hungry," she immediately replied. "But it's a bit strange sitting here alone. Such a noble and elegant young lady." I had no choice but to sit down with her. She ordered a lot of food. At first, I thought she was very hungry, but it turned out she ate very little, and she almost frowned with every bite. It seemed she couldn't handle spicy food very well. Finally, I noticed her reluctance. "If you don't want to eat, then don't. Otherwise, your stomach will feel uncomfortable." Bai Ningbing silently took a sip of water and suddenly spoke. "Where are you going later?" "Me? Home. Of course." I felt like this young lady was trying to make conversation. She seemed to sense it too. She nodded. "I'll take you home. That's really not necessary." But she insisted on taking me home. In the end, I gave up. An hour later, the car arrived at my apartment complex. I opened the door to get out and said goodbye to her. "Thanks for taking me home. Be careful." She nodded, not answering me. I walked a few steps and suddenly remembered that I hadn't seemed to have told Bai Ningbing my address. Strange. How did she know I lived here? I turned my head to look back. Bai Ningbing's car hadn't left yet. She sat in the driver's seat, looking at me. This scene reminded me of my second life, when we coincidentally met at that bookstore. Her gaze was exactly the same as now, as if shrouded in some kind of sadness. It made one feel inexplicably sad. I stood stunned for a few seconds, waved at her, then turned and left again. This was the 5th life, and also the last time Bai Ningbing and I had an intersection. 3 days later, I died in a car accident, run over by a heavy truck on a busy street. I decided to change my pursuit target to Bai Ningbing. The system asked if I had thought it through. A desperate person will try anything. You have no way of making Subaiju lose her memory. This is all I can do. I really don't want to die a violent death again. The system sighed. "Sorry, to be able to start a new round quickly. The safest way is a sudden, unexpected accident like that. Although it really hurts, at least it's quick." I knew its words weren't without reason. Since it's death, how could it not be painful? If you don't want to suffer, the only way is to succeed in the pursuit. I opened the official website of the Baishi group. Surprisingly, I found that their company was hiring, so I wrote several resumes and submitted them. Perhaps because I was a recent graduate, I received an interview notice just a few days later. Early on Monday morning, I showed up in a black suit at the Starbucks next to the Baishi Group's office building. I waited eagerly. Half an hour later, I finally received the system's reply. "The target character will appear in 10 minutes. The host can go in now." I took a deep breath, hurriedly grabbed my briefcase, and stepped into that magnificent and luxurious office building. After the security guard saw my interview notice, he gave me an access card. As expected of an Asia Top 500 enterprise, the security was impeccable. I slowly walked through the first-floor lobby. A commotion came from outside the door. Looking up, the woman walking at the very front was wearing a dark gray business suit. Her eye sockets were deep. Her eyebrows were jet black. Standing to her left and right were a few uncles around 50 years old. They must be the veteran directors of the group. Each of them walked beside her with a humble expression, occasionally nodding in agreement. I don't think I've ever seen a Bai Ningbing with such a powerful aura, like stars surrounding the moon, so noble that people didn't dare to look directly at her. But on second thought, she is the eldest daughter of the Bai group. Isn't a scene like this very normal? Host, what are you spacing out for? They're about to get into the elevator. Hurry up and rush over. The system reminded me in my head. I hesitated a little. Isn't this a bit inappropriate? There are too many people around her. What's there to be afraid of? You're already here. Such a rare opportunity. You have to make a familiar impression on her first. To make the next step easier, I shook my head. The system must have watched too many Korean dramas. But just as the elevator doors were about to close, I still rushed over. "How is the Smart Technology City project going?" Bai Ningbing's cold voice echoed in the elevator. While the uncles were talking, I secretly glanced sideways, counting the time. Since Bai Ningbing and I parted ways that night, it's actually only been 2 months. She seems to have lost some weight. I wonder if it's because of her busy work schedule. Come to think of it, she's really tall, probably 175 centimeters, or maybe 176 centimeters. Her eyes were cold and sharp. Her nose bridge was high and straight. The lines of her face were clean and defined. Actually, her appearance from her girlhood hasn't changed much until now. For some reason, my mind recalled that year in 11th grade, when she held my hand and we ran through the alleys of Dongcheng District. Those 2 lines of dialogue still echoed in my ears. "This young lady has never hit a man. Don't force me to make an exception. This student, Zhu Taekun, is under my protection. If anyone dares to touch a single hair on his head today, I guarantee it'll make them face consequences they can't handle." Time really flies. 8 years have passed in the blink of an eye. I sighed to myself, and the next second, I met Bai Ningbing's gaze. The moment our eyes met, I suddenly became tense for no reason. While I was wondering how to react, she gently averted her gaze. I almost forgot. How could she possibly recognize the me of today? Being foolish. I shook my head in a daze, and noticed that the group of uncles in the elevator were all looking at me. I immediately understood. It must be because I was too blatant in staring at Bai Ningbing just now, which aroused the curiosity of these uncles. "Excuse me, sir, which department are you from?" An uncle wearing glasses, with a receding Mediterranean hairline, asked me seriously. I had no choice but to answer honestly. "I'm here for an interview." "Isn't the interview on the 3rd floor? This is the 26th floor. You've gone past your floor." Along with the ding of the elevator opening, 3 gilded words appeared in the hallway. "CEO's office." I was embarrassed for a moment, and hurriedly apologized to them. After Bai Ningbing got out of the elevator, everyone followed her out in a line. Although we met, this encounter was no different from not meeting at all. The system nuttered in my head. Why do I get the feeling that this Bai Ningbing is also very hard to deal with? You should just prepare well for your upcoming interview. Being close to power brings benefits. As long as you can get into the Bai group, the hope of success will increase by 50%. Unfortunately, man proposes, God disposes. 3 days later, I received a call informing me that I didn't pass the interview. It was actually expected. The candidates on that day were all talented people. 2/3 were overseas students from prestigious universities. The remaining 1/3 were graduates from the top 3 domestic universities. And my identity in this life is just an ordinary university student who graduated from a 211 university. Really not outstanding at all, but it's okay. Having pursued Su Beiju for 5 lifetimes, I have some understanding of her good sister, Bai Ningbing's preferences and schedule. More or less, wanting to have a chance encounter is not difficult for me. Staking out the Queen Club on Friday night, I finally reaped some rewards. Not long after Su Beiju and a few rich girls appeared, Bai Ningbing arrived. That makes sense. This is their den, after all. But very quickly, I ran into trouble again, because every time these young ladies come here, they almost always stay in the private room on the 3rd floor. Tonight was no exception. I was a bit discouraged. Trying to sneak into the private room is basically impossible. Maybe I should just find a random spot in the 1st floor lobby to observe the situation first. I ordered a cocktail at the bar and sat down listlessly when I suddenly caught sight of Su Beiju coming down from the 3rd floor alone and finding a seat by the window on the 1st floor. The music in the lobby was loud, and everything was bizarre and dazzling. On the dance floor, men and women were dancing wildly. How strange. Doesn't she usually dislike joining such lively scenes? Why is she in such a mood tonight? Su Beiju is beautiful, and her taste in clothes is extraordinary. Sitting there, she was like a glowing LED light. Every man had to glance at her a few times. Very quickly, a boy went up to talk to her. Maybe because she was in a good mood, Su Beiju actually didn't refuse him. But not long after, her attitude turned much colder. The boy noticed her coldness and could only leave with a regretful look. Unfortunately, Miss Su is very popular. As soon as one person left, another immediately took his place. Su Beiju returned to her usual self. It hadn't been long before she put on another act of changing her tune. The boy left with great regret. This repeated several times. I felt that Su Beiju must have some serious illness, and not a mild one at that. Shaking my head. Whatever. I don't need to pursue her now anyway. What the hell does it have to do with me? Just as I averted my gaze, when did Bai Ningbing come down? An opportunity not to be missed. I quickly adjusted my state of mind, and was about to go forward when I saw her leaning over and accidentally bumping into a boy's wine glass. She said something with an apologetic look. The boy replied politely, going back and forth like that. The two of them actually started talking. I stood there with a bewildered expression. What is this situation? As a raider myself, Bai Ningbing's action just now, I understood it all too well. That was definitely not an unintentional act, but a deliberate one. Could it be that she likes this boy? Well, alright, he does look very handsome. They are sisters. Indeed, even their taste is the same. This boy had just started a conversation with Su Beiju 15 minutes ago, and they even talked for a long time. I sat back down with a gloomy expression. It's really not a good start. So Bai Ningbing likes the handsome and well-behaved type. While I scrolled through my phone, I observed the situation over there. Luckily, they only talked for about 10 minutes before that boy left with a regretful look. His face was full of reluctance to leave. I breathed a sigh of relief and decided to make my move immediately. Who knew that before I could even get in front of her, Bai Ningbing had already started a conversation with another boy. Damn, no way. What on earth is going on? Moreover, this boy, wasn't he also flirting with Su Beiju just now? What the hell is wrong with these two sisters? Or is this some new game for advanced humans? I couldn't help but sit back down again. I didn't expect these women to be so playful behind people's backs. Even Bai Ningbing is enough to shatter one's illusions. I listlessly scrolled through my phone and continued to watch the other side. Finally, the two of them finished talking, and this boy's face was also full of reluctance. He hesitantly took out his phone, seemingly wanting to ask for Bai Ningbing's WeChat, but was rejected. I understand less and less. After Bai Ningbing rejected that boy, her expression became a bit lonely. She walked through the crowd, with a gaze that was both hazy and melancholic, looking at the surrounding crowd, as if searching for something. I followed behind Bai Ningbing. Seeing that she was about to reach the elevator, she was probably planning to go up to the 3rd floor. If she returns to the private room, it would be very difficult to strike up a conversation again. I strode over quickly, preparing to get into the elevator with her. After a ding sound, the elevator opened. A waiter carrying a tray stepped out, perhaps because he wasn't holding it steady. The wine glass on the tray started to tilt before the wine glass could slide off. Luckily, the waiter was quick enough to catch it, but this also caused Bai Ningbing, who was dodging the waiter, to take a step back, and thus bumped into me. And just then, I wasn't holding my phone firmly. Clatter. My phone fell onto the marble floor, making a crisp sound. And so, my new model Huawei, which I had just bought a few days ago, got a beautiful crack on its screen just like that. The heavens are truly helping me. I picked it up with a pained expression. The waiter stood there, flustered and unsure of what to do. Of course, this had nothing to do with him. It was Bai Ningbing who bumped into me. Miss Bai indeed did not make things difficult for the waiter. Just told him to go ahead. Just as I was preparing to elegantly and politely interact with Bai Ningbing for the next step, I heard her make a phone call. Lin Surin, did you bring any cash? The meaning was very clear. Lin Surin came down to the 1st floor and gave Bai Ningbing a stack of cash. Sorry, I heard her say to me. Then that stack of cash was in my hand. The meaning was very clear. Not a single extra word was said throughout the whole process. The two of them entered the elevator and quickly disappeared. This time, I couldn't help but admit what the system had said before. Perhaps Bai Ningbing is even harder to deal with than Su Beiju. Damn it, are you even letting people live? Leaving the club, both the system and I were silent, staking out for a whole week, plus being busy for more than half the evening. Yet I gained nothing. Bai Ningbing probably hasn't even seen my face clearly. Pursuing her at this rate will take until God knows when. Not to mention that every pursuit mission has a time limit. Just based on Bai Ningbing's attitude towards me tonight, one could see, very clearly, that I'm not her type. System, do you understand women's taste in men? Every time you arrange an identity for me, can't you raise your aesthetic standards a bit? The system was quite speechless. Young master, please, don't you look in the mirror. If someone like you isn't called handsome, then what is? Handsome. Tall. With a good aura, you're more than qualified to be a male celebrity. Okay, how would I know what wire is crossed in those women's heads? I can only blame the fact that the targets you encounter are all weirdos. Sigh, so annoying. I unconsciously walked to a bookstore, and it was one I used to frequent. My eyes accidentally glanced at the poster on the glass door, and I immediately perked up, hurriedly pushing the door open to enter. Boss, is the 10th season of Demon King's Eye out? The chubby boss glanced at me and nodded. Yes, it just came in yesterday. It's better to arrive at the right time than to arrive early. I immediately went to the last row of the bookshelf and quickly found a stack of brand new manga with exquisite binding. I finally have something to do tonight. I don't know how much time had passed. It was already getting dark. It's really getting late. I should go home. I closed the manga and casually looked up, only to be completely stunned. Bai Ningbing, why is she here? Wasn't she at the Queen Club? Outside the window, the woman in a light blue shirt and dark pants was also looking at me quietly. Her gaze was distant. I don't know how long she had been standing there. I recalled 3 months ago in my mind, when I failed my 5th attempt to pursue Su Beiju. Bai Ningbing drove me home. She looked at me just like this, a gaze both distant and deep. Perhaps sensing my returning gaze, Bai Ningbing locked her car and walked into the comic book store. I suddenly got nervous. What to do? What to do? System, are you there? My mind was completely silent. I really give up. It always lets me down at crucial moments. I glanced over and saw Bai Ningbing walking to the last row of the bookshelf, seemingly choosing a manga. Should I go over there and pretend to fall? Too obvious. No, that won't work. Or I could order another cup of coffee and accidentally spill it all over her. That seems a bit despicable. I stood by the window, leaning against the fixed wooden tabletop, absent-mindedly flipping through the manga in my hand, while thinking of a strategy in my head. Unexpectedly, Bai Ningbing walked over and stopped about 50 or 60 centimeters away from me, starting to flip through the book in her hand. It was that Demon King's Eye book. Speaking of which, this book, back in high school, was one I introduced to Su Beiju afterwards. Most of the students in their class became obsessed with its plot. I grew more and more nervous inside. How strange. I was never like this when I was pursuing Su Beiju. What on earth am I nervous about? My heart is even pounding so fast. My gaze swept over the coffee cup beside me, and an idea suddenly popped into my head. My hand moved with my thought. Just as I was about to accidentally knock over the coffee cup with my elbow, the sound of a cup shattering rang out. I looked at the ground in astonishment. The coffee cup was shattered to pieces. I looked up and met Bai Ningbing's deep eyes, as black as obsidian. Her voice seemed annoyed. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I subconsciously shook my head and squatted down to pick up the pieces. It's okay. Bai Ningbing also bent down. The distance between the two of us instantly closed. Her coffee-colored lips and high, straight nose were right before my eyes. I suddenly understood what novels often describe as the woody scent on the female lead. Faint, like a fir tree on a gloomy day, and also like a cedar tree in winter. Not strong, nor distant, quite fragrant. A strange flutter suddenly rose in my heart. I don't know what it was either. After cleaning up all the coffee cup fragments on the floor, I asked the boss how much it cost. If you break something, you naturally have to pay for it. I felt that the comic book store owner seemed to have looked at Bai Ningbing behind me. 780. How much? I thought there was something wrong with my ears. The boss told me with some regret. Sorry. Young man, this cup was custom made for me by a famous artisan from abroad. So that's the price. You say it's a foreign artisan. So it's a foreign artisan. I feel like I kind of want to call the police. The boss isn't the boss of the old days anymore. He's turned the comic book store into a rip-off shop. The other party seemed to sense my inner thoughts and sighed. Young man, if you don't believe me, you can search for this brand of coffee cup online. I have the order number and delivery receipt here. 3 minutes later, I was deflated. My God, the clown was me after all. I never in a million years expected a coffee cup from this brand to be so expensive. I fell silent, intending to pay. I was the one who broke this cup. I should be the one to pay, but I didn't bring any cash, nor did I bring my phone. How about you pay first? Can I transfer the money to you later? The one who spoke was Bai Ningbing. Her voice was slow. Her attitude now was much more amicable compared to when we were at the Queen Club. Moreover, she was looking at me as she spoke. Her eyes were as deep as the sea, as if covered by a layer of misty fog. Actually, I don't mind this 780 yuan. After all, she just threw 10,000 yuan at me, which is more than enough to buy a phone. But considering I'm currently pursuing Bai Ningbing, her words were something I couldn't have wished for more. So I happily agreed. Okay. After paying, Bai Ningbing spoke up naturally again. Oh, right. What's your phone number? I recited a string of numbers. She didn't seem very assured, and even borrowed the owner's phone to give it a test call. Until my phone rang, Bai Ningbing was finally relieved, confirming that the phone number was correct. She seemed to think of something. What's your surname? I was stunned for a moment, before remembering to answer her a moment later. My surname is Yi. Yi Zhu. Mr. Yi, it's already late. If you don't mind, could you tell me your address, so I can take you home? Consider it a way to express my gratitude to you. For a moment, I forgot whether Bai Ningbing was pursuing me, or if I was pursuing her. Her attitude was so direct. Her tone clearly carried a hint of hope. Her eyes were brighter than the stars, as if filled with specks of sunlight. If it were anyone else, I would naturally mind. It's almost dawn. What if I get sold off for my kidneys? But she is Bai Ningbing, the Bai Ningbing who once said she would protect me back in high school. No one knows her better than I do. 3 months passed, and I once again sat in this silver-gray Bentley. Unlike last time when my heart was cold, and I was so depressed it felt like the sky was falling. This time, I'm completely at ease. I even feel a little bit of joy in my heart. I've been on this conquest mission for 6 lifetimes, and only at this very moment have I finally seen a glimmer of light. I turned my head and saw Bai Ningbing looking at me. Her expression was gentle and calm. I quickly sat up straight. I still haven't told you my name. She seemed to want to break the silence between us. I nodded subconsciously. I know. Bai Ningbing. The tires screeched to a halt on the ground, then jolted violently, and she hurriedly pulled over to the side of the road. Bai Ningbing stared at me in a daze. That's when I remembered I forgot to tell her. I went to the Bai group for an interview last week, and saw you in the elevator. Her expression froze for a moment, clearly unable to keep up with me. The Bai group. In the elevator on the 26th floor. She finally seemed to recall something, as if waking from a dream. I spoke again. Besides, at the Queen Club tonight, we met each other too. You broke my phone. Bai Ningbing's star-like, beautiful face shattered once again. Well, alright, the truth proves that before our chance encounter at the comic book store, all my attempts at conquest were for nothing. She had no impression of me at all. Bai Ningbing rubbed her forehead. I don't know if it was out of confusion or something else. Sorry, tonight I was a little. How about I go buy you a phone now? Do you have time? I sighed, as expected of the young lady of the Bai family, with more money than she can spend. You already compensated me. Did you forget? I took the wad of cash out of my pocket. Bai Ningbing looked at the wad of cash. A deep regret flashed in her eyes, and her expression became even more flustered. The atmosphere was a bit strange. The car started moving again. Soon, we arrived downstairs at my rented apartment. Bai Ningbing hesitated, clearly still having something to say, but I knew it was best to stop here for tonight. I waved at her, revealing a formulaic smile. Thank you for taking me home. Drive safe. On Saturday, I received a notification that I had passed the interview with the Bai group. They said if it was convenient for me, I could start work next Monday. Yes. The system was still a bit dazed. What's going on? Host, weren't you rejected by them before? While brushing my teeth and washing my face, I told the system about what happened last night. It was shocked. Is that for real? I was only disconnected for a moment, and you two have already progressed so quickly. It wasn't just for a moment. You were disconnected for the whole evening. Don't mind those details. I didn't expect this Bai Ningbing to be so easy to conquer. It seems we finally chose the right person this time. I hope so. On Sunday morning, I was still half asleep when I suddenly received a call. The person on the other end introduced herself as the HR manager of the Bai group. She called to confirm with me whether I would be coming to work at their company tomorrow. After getting my firm answer, she seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. All right, Mr. Yi, we look forward to having you. See you on Monday. Then, after hanging up the phone, I couldn't help but sigh with emotion. The Bai group is, after all, a top 500 company in Asia. This HR manager is not cold at all. She even had to repeatedly call and urge a candidate to come to work. I'm finally about to become an office worker. I excitedly got out of bed, opened the closet, and started picking out clothes. My identity this time is a poor student who just recently graduated. My financial situation isn't great. The clothes in my closet are pitifully few, but the material and style are quite decent. They are all classic, easy to match pieces. It seems I'll have to go to the mall this afternoon to buy a couple of suits for work. 8 a.m. on Monday. I arrived punctually at the Bai group. The HR manager was about 30 years old, with the surname Fu. She was the woman who called me on Sunday. Her attitude was very polite. I just didn't expect the position I applied for would turn out to be Bai Ningbing's assistant. That day, I clearly interviewed for an accountant position, because in this life, I studied finance in college. The position in the finance department is temporarily filled, but our CEO's office recently has a special assistant on maternity leave. Actually, aside from the different job duties, the benefits and other aspects are similar. Once you start working in the CEO's office, someone will be specifically assigned to help you get familiar with the work and environment. Mr. Yi, you don't need to worry at all. She seemed to be trying her best to persuade me to take the job. Of course, I had no objections. If I work in the CEO's office, wouldn't that mean I'd be closer to Bai Ningbing? The assistant's job was indeed not complicated. After just 2 days, I had already gotten a general grasp of the job content. It's all routine work and translation, drafting some reports, preparing documents for the board of directors, and so on. But it was very strange. I had been working for over a week, but I hadn't seen Bai Ningbing at all. It wasn't until I was eating in the cafeteria downstairs that day that I overheard other employees gossiping and learned that Bai Ningbing had gone abroad. It seemed there was some problem with the European branch. So that's what happened. I had to wait patiently. That afternoon, I was intently reading the handbook on the corporate culture of the Bai group at my desk when I realized the originally somewhat noisy CEO's office had suddenly fallen silent. I realized something and looked forward. Sure enough, I saw Bai Ningbing. A smoky blue windbreaker, paired with black trousers, made her look tall and elegant. She was also holding a large coat in her hand, looking a bit weary from her long journey. Although her brows showed a hint of fatigue, she was still astonishingly beautiful. Most importantly, she was of deep analyses. She was looking at me. I felt my chest thump heavily and could only try my best to appear calm. Then I greeted her. CEO. And then, I just watched helplessly as she walked right up to me. Are you getting used to the job? I heard her clear and pleasant voice, and also saw a smile on her face, faint, like sunshine on snow, when I got out of the elevator after work. Yao Law, the person in charge of training me, asked me curiously. Ichu, did you and the CEO know each other before? I didn't want to cause any scandal, so I shook my head. We don't. Is that so? Why? He had a gossipy look on his face, although it might sound cliché. To be honest, I feel like the CEO today was completely different from usual. I've been at the company for 3 years, and I've never seen her smile. But this afternoon, she smiled at us. Moreover, she was definitely in a great mood. She didn't scold anyone. I felt a bit unfamiliar with the Bai Ningbing he was describing. She scolds people. Is it that exaggerated? Yao Lo nodded vigorously. I'd be a puppy if I'm lying to you. Every time the CEO returns from the European branch, you should see the faces of the senior executives in the company. It's like there's a funeral in the family. Today, everyone looked like they were basking in the spring breeze, which proves none of them got scolded. So that also proves one thing. The CEO's mood today must be very good. Furthermore, Secretary Zheng, said the CEO, came straight to the company right after getting off the plane today. She didn't even go home. After a 12-hour flight, without even adjusting to the time difference, she came to the company without a break. Isn't that strange? But I've been thinking, during this time, besides you starting your job, nothing special has happened. So that's why I wanted to ask you. As Yao Luo was speaking, he suddenly fell silent, his eyes fixed on the silver-gray Bentley that was approaching from behind. I didn't say anything either, because the car had already stopped right in front of us. The car door opened, and Bai Ningbing got out of the driver's seat, walking straight towards me. Why didn't you accept my friend request on WeChat? The person she was asking was me. Huh, WeChat. I already sent the request, but you still haven't accepted it, she said again. I quickly took out my phone, and it was true. Sorry, I was a bit busy this afternoon. I didn't get a chance to look. Bai Ningbing smiled faintly. I see. Get in the car. It'll take you somewhere. I could only say goodbye to Yao Luo. Luluo, if there's nothing else, it'll be going now. He stiffly nodded at me. Oh, bye. Bai Ningbing took me to a phone counter in the mall. That's when I realized she wanted to buy me a phone. You really don't have to. You already compensated me. It's fine. Just consider it a subsidy from the Bai Group for new employees, she said firmly. A subsidy for new employees. Well, all right, their company is really generous. After buying the phone, she casually asked me, what do you want to eat for dinner? She wanted to treat me to dinner. To return the favor, I quickly said, let me treat you, as a thank you for buying me the phone. Bai Ningbing's beautiful peach blossom eyes narrowed slightly, carrying a moist charm. After a moment, she raised an eyebrow. All right, Bai Ningbing and I went to a private restaurant. The food here is very famous, and it's mainly for members. But just as we got to the second floor, we ran into someone we knew. Sister Bing, what a coincidence. We were just wondering why you weren't replying on WeChat or answering your phone. I didn't expect to see you here. The speaker was Lin Surin. She had a happy expression, but Bai Ningbing's gaze was indifferent. Why are you here? Here to eat. Of course. Su Beiju organized it. You don't know yet. Ito Makoto is back. That girl has been so smug lately, having conquered the martial artist Su Beiju. The name Ito Makoto, to me, is as loud as thunder in my ears. He is Su Beiju's childhood sweetheart, and also her white moonlight, her cinnabar mole. A year before I received the conquest mission, he had gone to France. I didn't expect that after 9 years, that childhood sweetheart has finally returned. Bai Ningbing seemed to have no interest in her words. Her footsteps stopped. Let's talk another day. We're leaving first. Lin Surin was a little confused. Aren't you here to eat? Why leave so soon? And this is... Sister Bing, do you have a boyfriend now? Bai Ningbing turned around, about to take me away, but the large group behind had already caught up. I saw Su Beiju almost immediately, for no other reason than that the person chosen by the system as the conquest target is naturally top tier in looks. That face is beautiful, like she won the genetic lottery. Her level of beauty is arguably on par with Bai Ningbing's. As for the guy next to her, it was my first time seeing him. He must be Ito Makoto. He's handsome, for sure, a face with sharp, distinct angles. His brows and eyes look like they were meticulously carved. No wonder he's the white moonlight Su Beiju has longed for 9 years. Sister Bing, someone called out in this direction, causing Ito Makoto's gaze to turn this way. After a moment of shock, his eyes lit up with surprised joy. Bai Ningbing, is it really you? It seems they all know each other. In this situation, Bai Ningbing naturally couldn't just leave. Bai Ningbing, I say, why have you been so quiet lately? Turns out you were quietly making big moves. Is this brother-in-law? In the private room, the speaker was Lu Ruyan, a close childhood friend who grew up on the same side as Su Beiju. Before, when I was trying to conquer Su Beiju, I heard no shortage of sarcastic remarks from her. You've misunderstood. This is my assistant, Yi Chu. Bai Ningbing's voice was devoid of emotion. The other party's gaze became even more meaningful. So he's an assistant. Does your company hire assistants based on looks? Hey handsome, interested in coming to our Lu Corporation? Whatever Bai Ningbing pays you, it'll pay double. How about it? Lu Ruyan has always been glib-tongued. Her words aren't reliable. I really didn't want to pay her any mind, but because there were many people here, I was about to say a few perfunctory words when Ito Makoto unexpectedly spoke up. Ningbing, have you been well these past few years? It's been all right. Her expression and tone were very indifferent. Ito Makoto frowned slightly and snorted softly through his nose, saying with dissatisfaction, you're still like when you were a kid, not very fond of me. You're overthinking it. If I'm overthinking it. Last Christmas, they all came to France to visit me. Why didn't you go? I was busy. With what? Setting off fireworks with someone else. You really value a lover over friends. Speaking of which, Ito Makoto seemed to think of something. By the way, where is the boyfriend you set off fireworks with? Did you two break up? Bai Ningbing suddenly fell silent, but I heard something in that. Wait a minute. Last Christmas, the person with Bai Ningbing setting off fireworks. Wasn't that me? In my 5th life, that was the time I was closest to completing the conquest mission. Because Su Beiju and I had linked up. That's right. On the night I held her to sleep, I was so happy, I almost cried. That was the 7th year of my conquest of Su Beiju. After dying 4 times, terminal illness, shot to death, drowned. The last time, I died in a gas explosion at home. God knows how scared I was of failing the conquest mission again, because I really didn't want to die so tragically again. The cause of it all was Ito Makoto on Instagram, announcing his French girlfriend. You could see, Su Beiju was heartbroken, getting drunk at the bar almost every day. And I went to the bar every day to pick her up, no matter how drunk she was. The next day, she would always wake up in bed in my apartment, with hangover tea already made, breakfast already prepared, and her clothes ironed and cleaned. After 3 months of this, Su Beiju and I finally linked up early the next morning. I excitedly asked the system if I had successfully completed the conquest. It slowly told me, "I'm afraid not yet, host. My data analysis shows that last night, the conquest target merely saw you as a substitute for her white moonlight. She doesn't love you at all." I fell silent, not saying a word. That's right, last night, even at our most intimate moment, Su Beiju's mouth was still whispering the 2 words Cheng Cheng. I had heard it long ago. I just stubbornly chose to deceive myself, thinking I could complete the mission that way. But in reality, I couldn't fool the system, and I couldn't fool myself. Ito Makoto's romance didn't last long. They broke up after only 4 months. He cried his heart out on the phone, while Su Beiju was comforting him. I was right beside her, but I couldn't show anything. I couldn't be jealous. I couldn't get angry. And I couldn't make a scene, because I didn't have the right. I used every method to please Su Beiju, flattering her, obeying her, wearing clothes in the style she liked best, and having the exact same hairstyle as the man she loved most. I begged her for a long time to spend Christmas with me, perhaps out of a moment of weakness. She agreed. I was secretly happy, thinking that one day she would be moved by my love and sincerity. But one day before Christmas, Su Beiju suddenly booked a plane ticket to France. She told me without any guilt, "Cheng Cheng is very lonely over there. I have to go visit him. I'll go with you next time." After saying that, she left without a second thought. I heard that for that Christmas, their group of 6 all went to France to visit Ito Makoto. Maybe from that moment on, I had a premonition that the 5th conquest was probably going to fail again. On Christmas Day, I went to Kaifeng Mountain alone to set off fireworks. Before leaving, I even intentionally posted a status update. As a result, not long after I was on the mountain, I ran into Bai Ningbing driving up the mountain alone. In my 5th life, although I wasn't close to her, we knew each other. At least, so we sat together and set off fireworks together. At first, Bai Ningbing would talk on and off, then seeing that I wasn't very responsive, she also fell silent. The 2 of us watched the fireworks for a long time, until midnight, when I hitched a ride home with her. After that, we didn't have much contact. The boyfriend they mentioned she set off fireworks with. Could it be me? Just as I was lost in thought, my phone suddenly rang. It was the landlord calling. He had called me once a few days ago. They said their son is getting married soon, and hoped that before the end of this month, I could find a place to move out. I answered the phone and said a few words. The system just hung up. When I felt something was wrong, I suddenly raised my head and looked across. Su Beiju was staring at me. Her eyes were blazing. Her expression was as cold as a demon crawling up from hell. A chill ran down my spine. In the previous life, the mission failed, and Su Beiju discovered my original identity. I later reviewed it carefully, and indeed found many small details about myself that I don't usually pay much attention to. Most of them were my unchanged living habits over many years. For example, the books I like, the movies I like. I'd rewatch them after a certain period. For example, my phone ringtone was always the same song. Even my catchphrases didn't change much. Every single one of these things could make Su Beiju recognize me. This life, I thought I didn't need to pursue Su Beiju anymore, and I didn't want to have any interactions with her, so I didn't change my phone ringtone. At this moment, I'm not sure if she has realized something. Go call a waiter in here. Su Beiju suddenly said to Lu Ruyan, "Call a waiter for what? I want to order. Didn't we just order?" An impatient look from Su Beiju swept over. Lu Ruyan immediately chuckled sheepishly. "Big sis, don't glare at me. I'll go. Okay." Very quickly, the waiter walked in. "Everyone here gets an extra bowl of shark fin soup." As expected, Su Beiju was starting to suspect me. Starting from the second light, I realized I was allergic to shark fin. Even though I've changed bodies several times, there were no exceptions. She's definitely doing this on purpose. I gripped my phone tightly, thinking of a countermeasure, when I heard Bai Ningbing next to me say, "Except for 2 people, we have to go now. The food isn't even here yet. What's the hurry?" Su Beiju's tone was icy. A cold glint flashed in her eyes. "We have something to do." "What is it?" "I can't say." Bai Ningbing was brief and concise. Then she looked at me. After understanding her meaning, I stood up. "Wait." Su Beiju pulled out her chair and walked straight towards me. A pair of hawk-like eyes locked onto me. "Changed your tactic, have you? Taking the scenic route to save the day?" She sneered, her face full of sarcasm and provocation. "I want to see how long you can keep pretending. If you have the guts, then never come looking for me. Besides me, here, no one else would probably understand the meaning of this sentence. Unfortunately, this time Su Beiju will surely be disappointed. This lifetime, unless someone holds a knife to my throat. Even if no one holds a knife to my throat, I absolutely will not go looking for her." Bai Ningbing drove me home. The two of us had a tacit understanding not to bring up what just happened. After arriving downstairs, I was about to get out of the car when I heard her clear voice. "Are you looking for a place?" After a brief moment of surprise, I understood. She must have overheard at the dinner table earlier. The landlady said her son is getting married next month, so she wants the house back. Bai Ning Bing looked at me and spoke cautiously, yet full of hope. "If you don't mind, a friend in Crystal City, has a vacant house over there. You could." Crystal City, I remember now, but that seems to be a villa district. A house there? I probably can't afford to rent. She quickly cut me off. "You don't need to pay rent. Just pay a little for utilities. Actually, it doesn't matter if you pay for utilities or not. He mainly hopes someone can look after the house for him." I looked at Bai Ning Bing, vaguely understanding something in my heart. I nodded. "I'll think about it." She let out a sigh of relief. "Okay, then I'll wait for your answer." Just as I saw the car off, the system excitedly jumped out and shouted in my head, "Oh my god, host." I knew a handsome man would always shine. This Bai Ning Bing sure has good taste. Unlike that blind girl Su Beiju, at this current mission progress, Bai Ning Bing will definitely be conquered by you. Sob, host. You absolutely must not die a tragic death again. I really can't bear to do it. I couldn't agree with what it said. Can't bear to do it. Don't be so modest. I see that every time you kill me, it's always quick, clean, and efficient. I did not. You don't know how much my heart aches sees every time before the operation. It's all because of that heartless Su Beiju. She's so cold and ruthless. A total scumbag girl. Damn it. The two of us have finally escaped that unlucky woman this lifetime. Bai Ning Bing is still the best. She's both beautiful and sensible. We haven't even done much pursuing, and she's already obediently delivered herself to our doorstep. Now I even suspect that in her head, she might also be bound to a system. And then the system made her come and pursue you. I pondered a little. It's not entirely impossible. The system quickly refuted my words. Come on, do you really think this world is full of raiders walking around? If a colleague appeared nearby, wouldn't I know? To tell you the truth, on average, among 10 million people, there's only one raider. In your country, the number of raiders definitely doesn't exceed 20. Today, I just found out that I was originally chosen by the system, with a probability of 1 in 10 million. I really don't know if I'm lucky or unlucky, but don't you find Bai Ning Bing very strange? Everything is going too smoothly. What's so strange about it? I'd rather believe she fell in love with you at first sight. I sighed. If it really was love at first sight, why wouldn't she remember at all? Seeing me in the elevator and at the club. The system was silent for a moment. That's true. So what now? I don't know. We'll just have to play it by ear. I tactfully declined Bai Ning Bing's kind offer and quickly found a place, moving in over the weekend. Every day I go to work, and after work, I hang out with my colleagues. I actually quite like this kind of life. Yao, you, ever since the last incident, has been very curious about my relationship with Bai Ning Bing, beating around the bush to ask if the CEO is pursuing me. How could that be? Before, because of a small accident, she broke my phone. That day, she wanted to compensate me for the phone. That's all. What else could it be? At noon, a few colleagues were discussing where to go for lunch when they happened to see Assistant Wang, who had just finished an administrative meeting. Yao Yu greeted her enthusiastically. "Assistant Wang, are you about to go to lunch? How about we go together?" The elevator just closed when I received a WeChat message from Bai Ning Bing on my phone. "Where did you go?" I quickly replied, "Going to lunch with colleagues." "What's up?" The other side was silent for a moment. Nothing. Turning off my phone screen, I realized that she might have been planning to ask me to lunch. Originally, there were 5 or 6 of us going together, but on the way back, it was only me and Assistant Wang left. The other colleagues probably figured something out. "Mr. Ichu, your favorite coconut latte." Assistant Wang came out of Starbucks and handed it to me. "Thanks. How much is it?" "I'll transfer the money to you." "No need. It's just a cup of coffee." The other person smiled and then asked me at the right time, "How is it working in the CEO's office? Are you used to it?" "It's great. If there's anything you don't understand, or if you encounter any difficulties, you can always come to me." "Okay, thank you." Assistant Wang, no need to be so polite. She hesitated for a moment, her expression suddenly turning a little shy. "Oh, right. A friend of mine gave me 2 tickets to a piano concert. It's this Friday night. I was wondering if you're free on Friday." Actually, Assistant Wang has a dignified appearance, is highly educated, has outstanding abilities, and I heard she's a trusted subordinate of the chairman. If I didn't have a mission to complete, finding such a diligent, ambitious, and reliable girlfriend would probably be the dream of any ordinary guy, but this dream was destined not to be for me. I was thinking of an excuse to refuse when the system's voice suddenly rang in my head. "Host reminder. The mission target has been detected approaching." The words were on the tip of my tongue, but I temporarily changed my mind. "Friday. Okay, I don't have anything on anyway." Assistant Wang's face lit up with joy. "Really? Then I'll come pick you up." Do you two want to add each other on we?" I nodded. "Of course." Just as we took out our phones to scan the QR codes, Bai Ning Bing walked up beside us. Assistant Wang quickly greeted her. "CEO." The other party nodded, her gaze lightly sweeping over me, as if asking casually, "What are you two doing?" Assistant Wang immediately explained, "It's nothing. A friend gave me 2 concert tickets, and I was planning to ask Mr. To go with me on Friday night. Bai Ningbing was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses today with a black suit dress that was crisp and neat. Her eyes looked a bit cold. Is that so? Assistant Wang nodded with her eyes lowered, standing quietly to the side. As the chairman's special assistant, reading people's expressions is the most basic step. She had probably also noticed the sudden drop in atmospheric pressure. After work on Friday, I was waiting for Assistant Wang downstairs at the company. 3 minutes later, I saw Bai Ningbing's car again. I didn't understand why. What's up? Where's Assistant Wang? There's a little problem with the European branch. She's needed over there to handle it. She just got on the plane. EU. Europe. Bai Ningbing's lips curled up. She seemed to be in a very good mood. What's wrong? Nothing. It's just quite sudden. She opened the car door. Her expression relaxed. Get in the car. Don't you want to go to the concert? The system secretly came online. Tusk. Suddenly, I find this person to be quite cunning. Assistant Wang just asked me to a concert, and she sent her all the way to Europe. I think she has to go for 2 months. Is that for real? Half an hour later, the two of us arrived at the piano concert. It was quite crowded. Actually, I don't know how to appreciate music at all. I don't even know this pianist. Besides, is there any difference between listening live and listening at home? This is probably what they call casting pearls before swine. I opened my phone, feeling a little guilty towards Assistant Wang, wondering if I should apologize to her. Just as I glanced up, I met a pair of cold eyes. I composed myself and blurted out, "Around when will Assistant Wang be back? Do you care that much?" Bai Ningbing's voice sounded rather cold, like the recent sudden change in weather. How could I not care? She might have been implicated because of me. Actually, I hadn't even finished speaking when she cut me off. Listen to the music. Bai Ningbing seemed a little angry. Her already cold eyes darkened a few shades. She didn't look at me anymore, but turned her head to focus on the performance. Well, all right, I could only shut up. I was woken up by the system. When I woke up, the people in the surrounding seats were getting up one by one and walking into the aisle. Looking down, I was wearing a smoky blue suit jacket. It was Bai Ningbing's. "Are you awake?" Someone's teasing voice came from beside me. It even sounded quite cheerful. I covered my face with one hand, suddenly feeling so embarrassed. Wasn't it embarrassing enough at home? I had to come out here to lose face too. It wasn't until we left the concert hall that my fleshed face gradually returned to normal. I asked, embarrassed, "Why didn't you wake me up? You were sleeping too soundly." Bai Ningbing's voice still couldn't hide her amusement. I daren't imagine. While I was sleeping, the expressions of the audience around me. Sigh, I don't want to talk. The car quickly arrived at my apartment complex. Bai Ningbing suddenly frowned deeply. "You live here?" She probably found this place too shabby. The 30-year-old apartment complex was indeed a bit dilapidated. I was a bit tired. I nodded and grunted in affirmation, getting out of the car to say goodbye to her. Bai Ningbing had a look on her face like she wanted to say something, but held back, seeing me yawn repeatedly. She finally gave up and just said, "Then you should get some rest." I walked into the dark, unlit hallway, and the system suddenly spoke up. "Host, let me show you something." "What is it?" "Y'all know when you see it." As soon as it finished speaking, an interface suddenly appeared before my eyes. Judging by the background, it was probably from the concert just now. On the screen, I had fallen asleep. Bai Ningbing took off her own jacket and gently draped it over me. The collar touched my forehead. It was probably a little itchy, so I frowned. She looked a bit tense, as if she was afraid of waking me up. After confirming I didn't wake up, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then she sat in the seat next to me, with one hand propping up her chin, and just watched me like that. How should I describe that gaze? It was incredibly tender and affectionate. "You know what? You slept for an hour." She watched you like that for almost the entire hour, the system said. I thought for a moment. You mean, maybe she's a pervert? I was speechless. Have you ever seen a pervert so gentle and deeply affectionate? Just pay a little attention to the way she looks at you. It's clearly an irrepressible love, one that can no longer be hidden. By the way, besides your system job, do you also write novels on the side or something? It was provoked. Host, you should know, I've eaten more salt than you've eaten rice. I've seen more people than you've seen ants. Believe me, Bai Ningbing's feelings for you are absolutely not ordinary. Maybe you don't even need to go out of your way to pursue her. She'll take the initiative and come to you herself. What kind of weird analogy is that? But I feel the system's words are not without reason. Bai Ningbing has indeed been constantly approaching me. Why would she do that? Could it really be as the system said? I fell into deep thought. 2 weeks after I moved, a typhoon swept through the entire city. Because it was an old apartment complex, the facilities and everything were old. At dusk, I watched helplessly as the apartment opposite mine had its aluminum alloy window blown downstairs by the wind. I was trembling with fear, thinking about the news a while ago of someone being blown from a high floor to the ground by a typhoon. I felt even more anxious. If I had known, I would have rented a better place. Just as I was feeling worried and uneasy, my heart pounding, my phone suddenly rang. It was Bai Ningbing. She only said 3 words to me. "Come downstairs." Now, I never would have expected Bai Ningbing to drive to pick me up on a typhoon day. The wind was howling everywhere. Does she have a death wish? I was stunned. You, why did you come here? I was afraid Yao'd be blown away by the typhoon. She shielded me tightly and pushed me into the passenger seat. Where are we going? I still hadn't reacted. My home. 40 minutes later, I arrived at the old residence of the Bai family, a manor-style villa located in the city center. Ning Bing, where did you just come from? Running around in a typhoon. Aren't you afraid of scaring your grandmother? A graceful and noble woman came down from the stairs, her tone dissatisfied. I immediately became tense. Not knowing how to greet her, I could only stand there awkwardly and greet her in a low voice. Hello. Madam, she looked at me, clearly a bit surprised as well. You are. Mom, this is Yi Chu from the CEO's office. There's been a typhoon recently, and the apartment complex he lives in isn't very safe, so I brought him over to stay at our house for a few days. Bai Ningbing explained from the side. Mrs. Bai paused for 2 seconds, reacted. Is that little Yi? Have you had dinner? Would you like me to ask Auntie Lai to make some for you? I hurriedly refused. No need. No need. I've already eaten. Thank you. Mrs. Bai. She smiled at me. Her attitude was very friendly. Just call me Auntie Bai. Don't be so formal. Just make yourself at home here. No need to be so restrained. At this moment, an old lady wearing a moss green cheongsam with a kind and benevolent appearance walked into the living room. Ning Bing, you're back. Bai Ningbing stepped forward to answer. Grandma, back. Oh, Butler Lu just said you went out. You gave me a scare, running out in this terrible weather. You really don't let people worry less. Very quickly, the old lady noticed me. And who might this be? Grandma, this is Yi Chu. He'll probably be staying with us for a few days. Bai Ningbing patiently introduced me to her grandmother. Hello, Grandma Bai. Hearing me greet her, she looked visibly happy and was extremely enthusiastic. Hello. This young man is really handsome, just like a movie star. What's your name? How old are you? Where is your home? Mrs. Bai, afraid I would be put in a difficult position, quickly reminded the old lady. Mom, don't scare him away. Grandma Bai chuckled and slapped her forehead. Old. I don't know how to talk. Young man, don't mind me. I quickly waved my hands. Not at all. You're being too polite. Grandma, although it was our first meeting, Grandma Bai treated me with great warmth. She pulled me to sit on the sofa and chatted with me for a long time, asking a few more questions. When she learned that Bai Ningbing had just driven out to pick me up, Grandma Bai shot her granddaughter a look. Bai Ningbing, you were in the wrong. We have so many rooms in our house. Why would you let little Chu stay outside? How dangerous is it for a boy to rent a place and live alone outside? Little Chu, you don't need to move back and forth anymore. From now on, just stay here. She must have misunderstood my relationship with Bai Ningbing. I was about to explain. Grandma, actually, not. She smilingly interrupted me. It's your first time at the Bai's house. This old lady also doesn't know what young people like. So how about I give you this watch? After saying that, Grandma Bai took off an exquisite watch from her wrist. I was startled and almost shook my head like a rattled drum. No need. Grandma, please don't spend money on me unexpectedly. She completely ignored my refusal, insisting on giving it to me. I had to look at Bai Ningbing, hoping she would say something. An unreadable emotion flickered in Bai Ningbing's eyes, and her voice revealed a sense of intimacy. It's all right. If Grandma wants to give it to you, then you should just accept it. As soon as Grandma Bai heard that, the smile on her face grew even brighter. Without another word, she put the watch on my wrist. I was dumbfounded, looking at the exquisitely designed watch, made of high-quality materials on my wrist. I knew without guessing that it must be very expensive. Just like that, because of a typhoon, I ended up staying at the Bai's house. Bai Ningbing is an only child. Their family is simple. 3 generations live together. Besides her grandmother, parents, and herself, the rest are the butler, driver, maids, aunties. I stayed in a guest room on the 3rd floor. The system was gleefully excited. See, I told you Bai Ningbing's feelings for you are definitely not simple. She definitely fell in love with you at first sight. To be loved at first sight by your target. Whoa. I could ship this plot for 100 years. Host, this time you finally come to the end of your suffering. Do you want to use a strong dose tonight? Cook the rice, so to speak, and have a happy ending. I was speechless. This is her house, and you're telling me to use a honey trap if I get kicked out. How could I face anyone again? It was full of confidence. Bai Ningbing wouldn't have the heart to kick you out. Look at the way she looks at you. I think if you just beckon to her with your finger. She'd even agreed to jump off a building. It's really getting more and more unreliable. Seeing that I was silent for a long time, the system couldn't help but speak. What's wrong? I tested the hairdryer in my hand and shook my head. Nothing. The hairdryer seems to be broken. Really? It suddenly perked up. Such a good opportunity. Don't miss it. Hey, just wear what you're wearing. Go down to the 2nd floor to find Bai Ningbing and tell her the hairdryer is broken. Late at night, a lone man and a lone woman. An ambiguous atmosphere arises. Things will naturally fall into place. I look down at my bathrobe. That's strange. It's clearly a typhoon. So why is the signal still so good? We haven't lost connection from morning till night. System. I remember there seems to be a study at the end of the 3rd floor hallway. Maybe there's a hairdryer there. I opened the door and saw Bai Ningbing about to knock. The two of us looked at each other, thinking about how I was still in a bathrobe. My face suddenly felt hot. Is something wrong? Bai Ningbing was also a little flustered, her gaze shifting to the side quite a bit. Her voice tried to sound calm. Auntie Lai made some sweet potato soup. I wanted to ask if Yao'd like some. I quite like sweet potato soup. Okay, I'll change my clothes first. I'll wait for you downstairs. I changed into a more comfortable set of clothes and went down to the first floor. Bai Ningbing frowned. Did you wash your hair? Why didn't you dry it? Yao'll catch a cold like that. The hairdryer is broken. She paused for a moment. The one on the first floor probably isn't broken. Follow me. The one on the first floor really wasn't broken. When Bai Ningbing said, "Let me help you," the system was all but screaming in my head. Yes. Yes. Quick. Quick. Agree with her. Immediately. Right now. After thinking it over for a while, I finally said the 3 words. Okay, thank you. From Miss Bai's unfamiliar and clumsy movements, I could basically tell this was probably her first time drying a boy's hair. She was really not skilled at all. I couldn't help but tease. Director Bai, have you ever had a boyfriend before? Bai Ningbing lowered her head and glanced at me, her expression faltering slightly. No. So that's how it is. Could it be that you're using me for practice? Her eyes swept over. Her eyes, as if tinged with ice and snow, looked at me quietly. Can I? I chuckled softly. Of course you can. Practice all you want. Free of charge. Oh, right. If there's anything else you need to practice, you can also come to me. Bai Ningbing's hand seemed to tremble a little, and a dazed look crossed her face for a moment. I discovered that she really can't handle being teased. Just 2 sentences of teasing, and her whole face, even the tips of her ears, started to turn red. It's really hard to believe. As far as I know, her group of friends are all more playful than the next. Lin Ran, Lu Ruyan, and Su Baizhu are a little better. After all, they have a white moonlight in their hearts, walking through 10,000 flowers. Not a single leaf clings to the body. The person being described could be Bai Ningbing. Oh, well, I should stop teasing her. After drying my hair, I went to the dining room. Auntie Lai ladled out a bowl of soup and said to me with a smile, "Mr. Yi, Miss Ningbing said you like sweet potato soup, so I made some tonight. I don't know if it's to your liking." This time, I was truly surprised. I stared blankly at Bai Ningbing. How did you know I like this? Just a guess. She gave me a simple 2-word answer. How could that be? I wanted to ask more, but she clearly didn't want to give me an answer. I had to give up. The typhoon day passed quickly. I prepared to go back to my rented room and said goodbye to Grandma Bai, but she adamantly held me back. How can a boy like you live in such a remote place? What if you run into bad people on your way home at night? Wouldn't it be a case of crying to the heavens in vain and calling to the earth for help with no response? We have plenty of guest rooms. They are just sitting empty anyway. Listen to Grandma. Don't go. Just stay here. Even Mrs. Bai asked me to stay. You're an employee of the Baishi group, so it's only natural for you to stay with us. You don't need to feel any psychological burden. This must be the legendary kindness that's hard to refuse. Although I felt a little uneasy, I couldn't resist their wholehearted attempts to keep me. Grandma Bai finally relented and said that when I found a safer and more reliable place to live, she would agree to let me move out. I could only continue to stay at the Bai's house every day. I'd get a ride to and from work with Bai Ningbing, no longer needing to squeeze onto the subway or take the bus every day, living in a clean, large house, bright, where every inch of land is worth gold, and every meal was nutritionally balanced with fresh ingredients. In terms of lifestyle, it was truly a qualitative leap, but how should I put it? Everything has its good side, and it certainly has its bad side too. I don't know if it was my illusion, but every time I went out, Grandma Bai would be very nervous. Furthermore, she'd have the driver follow me without leaving my side. One time, the driver had to accompany Bai Ningbing to another province for a few days, and Grandma Bai even hired a bodyguard for me. Even if I was just going to the supermarket to buy something, that bodyguard would follow me closely every step of the way. Another time, Grandma Bai had to go to the hospital for her semi-annual health checkup, and Mrs. Bai tactfully suggested that I go to the hospital with her for a checkup. But in reality, before starting work at the Baishi group, I had already submitted my health certificate. This feeling was really too strange. No, it was a bit bizarre. On Saturday afternoon, after I had repeatedly declared that I was just going out for a walk, but the bodyguard still insisted on following me, I finally couldn't take it anymore and decided to have a frank talk with Mrs. Bai. Mrs. Bai's attitude surprised me greatly. She first sincerely apologized to me, then led me into Bai Ningbing's room. Then I saw a photo of myself from my first life. After the initial shock, my body gradually reacted. I stiffly walked to the desk and tremblingly picked up the photo frame. It was very strange. I don't remember. When I took this picture, looking at the angle, it was probably a candid shot. At that time, my name was Zhu Keikun, a very handsome, cute, and straightforward teenager. Mrs. Bai's regretful voice sounded in my ear. This was Ningbing's first love, and also her junior. Unfortunately, he passed away from illness in the 11th grade. I heard it was an acute illness. It's all my fault. The day the college entrance exams ended, our Ningbing originally planned to confess her feelings, but I advised her that young man hadn't finished his exams yet. Don't mess with his thoughts. Besides, if the confession failed, your graduation trip wouldn't be happy either. I advised Ningbing to wait until after her graduation trip to confess to him. that it wouldn't be too late. A month later, when she returned from abroad, that young man was already gone. That's the thing I regret the most. And also the thing our Ning Bing regrets the most. I've thought about it countless times since. If on the day the college entrance exams ended, I had encouraged Ning Bing to confess, would her life not have that one regret? I held the photo, silent for a long time, not saying a word, until Mrs. Bai's voice sounded again. This is the second boy that Bai Ning Bing from our family liked. I looked up vaguely and saw her holding another photo frame. The photo in it was very strange. There were no people, just a pair of long shadows, like the shadows of a couple. In the distance, there were continuous lights, and there seemed to be fireworks in the air. It was probably taken at night. Look how silly my daughter is, always having secret crushes. She doesn't even have the courage to take a photo with the person, only daring to secretly take a picture of a shadow. I heard it was taken on Christmas Day. I stared at her in a daze. My heart seemed to stop for a moment. It's just that this boy also passed away in a car accident. I even suspected that Bai Ning Bing was cursed with the lone star of calamity, that any boy she liked would not have a good end. Little Chu, your grandmother-in-law, and I can both see that Bai Ning Bing likes you. So after you came to stay with us, we acted so nervously. Sorry, don't be angry with your auntie and grandmother. We're just afraid of making the same mistakes again. Mrs. Bai put down the photo frame and sighed. She continued speaking. Last summer, my daughter suddenly told me, "Mom, I finally found him." I knew right away that Ning Bing was in love again. I originally wanted her to bring that boy home, but she said, "The person he likes isn't me." At that time, I told her, "So what if the person he likes isn't you? As long as he's not married, you can pursue him. Maybe one day he'll like you." One day, 4 months ago, she suddenly came back dejectedly, covered in blood, and told me in a terrified voice that the boy she liked was gone again. Tell me, what kind of fate does my daughter have? Why is falling in love so difficult for her? Even I, as her mother, can't bear to watch anymore. Covered in blood, I suddenly looked up. An image flashing in my mind. In my previous life, I was hit by a heavy truck and killed on a busy street. In the moment my consciousness was fading, I saw a figure stumbling towards me, holding my nearly shattered body in her arms. The intense pain made my vision start to blur, and I mumbled, "It hurts so much. I don't want to pursue targets anymore." In a daze, I heard that person's chillingly trembling voice. "In the next life, come pursue me. I'm begging you." So that's how it was. So this was the truth. After returning to my room, after a long while, the system spoke in a hoarse voice. No wonder the target list for this life had an extra person. Perhaps the main system was moved. Host, congratulations. This life's mission is basically set. If nothing unexpected happens, the 1 billion reward is waving at you. Obviously, it also heard the conversation between me and Mrs. Bai just now, hearing that I didn't have to die, and was about to get the 1 billion reward that was once so distant. I was very calm, my heart completely still. That's not right either. Right now, I only have one thought, to see Bai Ning Bing quickly. Unfortunately, the day before yesterday, she went to Sanya for some financial conference, and I don't know when she'll be back. I paced back and forth in my room, longing growing like weeds in my mind. It felt like I couldn't wait another moment. I decisively took out my phone and made a call to Secretary Zhang. After learning the specific address there, I started packing my luggage and booked a plane ticket. At 8 p.m., I landed in Sanya and went straight to the hotel. While waiting for the elevator in the first floor lobby, I was about to call Bai Ning Bing when I suddenly came face to face with a familiar person. Speak of the devil, Su Baizhu was here too. I lowered my eyes, not wanting to have anything to do with her, but she clearly didn't think the same. Su Baizhu stepped out of the elevator, a cold and confident smile on her lips. "You followed me all the way here. Quite capable, aren't you?" I looked at her coldly. The first life, the second life, and even the third life, I had genuinely liked her. The system got one thing wrong. The one who fell in love with the target at first sight was actually me. As early as the 11th grade, the first time I met Su Baizhu, I was enchanted by her as if under a spell. I poured my heart out, using my greatest enthusiasm to approach her, to warm her up, hoping to melt her cold and icy heart. The truth has proven that you can't succeed in this mission just by being a simp. My love for her had already completely disappeared after failing the mission in the first 3 lives. The subsequent missions were purely to avoid dying and for that 1 billion reward. "Do you need something?" Su Baizhu's gaze darkened slightly, her voice tinged with coldness. "Zhu Keikun, did you think I wouldn't recognize you? I told you very clearly in the last life. Don't do it again. You just had to treat my words like wind passing by your ear, didn't you?" Since she had already recognized me, I didn't want to get entangled with her, and I couldn't be bothered to play dumb anymore. I said as I pressed the elevator button. "I know," she sneered. "It really is you. Is she nuts?" Around this time, the elevator is quite crowded. It's taking forever to come down. "Zhu Taikun, let me say it again. Teng Cheng and I are getting engaged soon. I hope you know your place. Stop clinging to me." I finally lost my patience listening to her nonsense. I picked up my suitcase intending to take the stairs, while also throwing a congratulations back at her. My wrist was suddenly grabbed tightly. Su Beiju was furious. Can't you understand human language? You think you can control me by clinging to Bai Ningbing? Make me jealous. In your dreams. Slap. I swung my hand and slapped her across the face. Su Beiju was stunned. She held her face, as if she couldn't believe what had just happened. It's understandable. I've chased after her for 5 lifetimes. I would never have dared to hit her. Zhu Taikun, you're insane. She gripped my hand tightly. Her expression suddenly tensed up. Yi Zhu. I turned around and saw Bai Ningbing. She walked quickly towards me. Her eyebrows were furrowed. Her cold gaze swept over Su Beiju. She asked me, what happened? I shook off Su Beiju's hand and replied to her, it's nothing. Bai Ningbing looked at the suitcase in my hand and took it from me. Let's go. Okay. Bai Ningbing had booked a suite. Thank goodness. Maybe she could let me crash for a bit. Just now in the taxi, I opened an app to search a little. Perhaps because there's a financial conference nearby recently. All the nearby hotels were fully booked. Why did you suddenly come here? She asked me. I had already thought of an excuse. I said cheerfully with a smile. Annie Bai said you were having stomach problems. I came to bring you some stomach medicine. From Shanghai to Sanya just to deliver stomach medicine. What about it? Is there a problem? She was still very suspicious. I pretended to give her room a meaningful look. Did I interrupt you? Sorry. I should have told you in advance. She speechlessly rubbed her forehead. What nonsense are you thinking? Have you had dinner? I ate a little on the plane. So I nodded. Have you booked a hotel? I continued to nod. Where? Let me see if it's far. Right here. Right here. She looked at me. That's right. Don't you have a spare room? This time she understood. She coughed awkwardly, a little uncertainly. You mean you want to stay with me? I looked at her, pitiably. All the nearby hotels are full. If you don't want to take me in, I can only sleep on the street. A pink blush appeared on Bai Ningbing's fair cheeks. She turned her head away. Her voice revealed a hint of shyness. Which room do you want? I'll go and clean it up for you. I opened my suitcase, rummaging for the clothes I would wear after my shower. The system secretly came online again. Host, have you decided that tonight you will seal the deal? No, but I see the equipment in your suitcase is very exquisite. These are clearly very normal pajamas. I came here just to talk with Bai Ningbing for a bit. Taking it step by step isn't bad either. System, can I discuss something with you? What is it? Can you please not come online tonight? The other party snickered. Understood. This humble one will go offline immediately. Rest assured, I'll be as quiet as a dead person. After my shower, I walked out of the room. Bai Ningbing was on the phone in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. It was all business jargon I didn't understand. She had changed out of the business suit from earlier. Instead, she was wearing a simple white shirt and gray trousers. I don't know if she had showered already. Just a glance at her side profile. My heart was already pounding like a fawn, as if I had just done something bad. Sensing that I was in the living room, Bai Ningbing said a few more words and then hung up. Are you planning to go out? I didn't understand why she would ask that. I shook my head. No. She stared at me intently. Under the light, her eyes and brows looked refreshed. Seemingly not believing what I had just said, I asked her back. Why would I go out? Aren't you going to look for Su Beiju? It turns out she also thought I came all this way to find Su Beiju. Isn't she your friend? I'm not that close to her. Why would I look for her? The other party fell silent. I sighed softly. Bai Ningbing, let's talk for a bit. She suddenly raised her head. Her chest heaved rapidly. Her voice trembled slightly. What did you just call me? Bai Ningbing. Or, do you want me to call you Director Bai? She hesitated, looking at me. After a moment, she came and sat down on the sofa next to me, trying to make her tone sound calm. Talk about what? I originally wanted to ask her when she recognized me, but it seemed I already had the answer in my heart. For a moment, I really didn't know where to start. Just then, my phone rang. Although there was no caller ID, that number had long been committed to muscle memory. I don't know where she got my number either. I was about to hang up. Bai Ningbing said hastily, don't answer it. My hand froze. I deliberately asked her, why can't I answer? Bai Ningbing suddenly got angry. Not only did she hang up the call, she also helped me turn off my phone. I found it even more amusing and wanted to tease her even more. She must be looking for me for something. Maybe I should go out and ask her. You're not allowed to go. She suddenly pulled my arm. Her tone was a bit fierce. Then I pretended to be pulled over and fell into her arms with the momentum. Bai Ningbing was startled, thinking that she had really used too much force and hurt me by pulling. She quickly apologized again. Sorry, I didn't mean it. She must have showered. There was a faint scent of body wash on her. I really wanted to get a little closer to her. Even though we were already very close, it still wasn't enough. Looking at this face just inches away, and those pale pink lips, I finally couldn't resist, and kissed her. The next second, Bai Ningbing's whole body stiffened, as if she couldn't believe it at all, and completely forgot to respond. Not until I bit her lip lightly as if in punishment, reminding her to respond, she finally reacted. Pressing her hand against the back of my neck, she passionately kissed me back. I don't know how long we kissed. I heard Bai Ningbing whisper 3 words entrancingly. Zhu Taikun. The corners of my eyes suddenly stung. In an instant, Tears fell. I slowly let her go. When did you recognize me? Bai Ningbing kissed away the tear on my cheek. Her lips lingered close to my earlobe. Her tone carried a sense of enchantment. A comic book store. I actually guessed it already. Neither of us spoke again. We just quietly held each other for a long time. Bai Ningbing thought of something, and suddenly became visibly tense. Us being like this. Will it? I knew what she wanted to say. I shook my head. Do you remember in the last life? When I fell into your arms, the last thing you said to me. She looked at me blankly, gradually understanding my meaning. This time, it was me. That's right. Hearing this, Bai Ningbing's eyelashes trembled. The corners of her long, narrow eyes reddened slightly. Her lips parted, as if wanting to say something. But in the end, she said nothing at all. She just lowered her head again and kissed me deeply. After returning from Sanya, I decided to move out of the Bai family home. Why? Bai Ningbing immediately became anxious. I explained patiently. From the company to home. Besides sleeping, we're together almost 24 hours a day. What if we get tired of each other quickly? She was so angry she laughed. I've waited for you for 5 lifetimes. We've only been together for 2 days, and you're already saying this to me. Her words immediately left me without an argument. At the same time, I felt indescribably soft-hearted. I could only hug her and coax her with kisses. Please. Please. I just feel that living together before marriage will make Auntie Bai dislike me. Besides, Bai Ningbing's father recently returned from abroad. Every day I go downstairs. I run into the company chairman. This feeling of trepidation and trembling, who could understand it? My mom won't dislike you. She took the initiative, lifted me over, and had me straddle her lap, seemingly thinking of something. Could it be that you're afraid of my dad? I laughed politely. Haha, how could that be? The chairman is so kind and amiable and understanding towards his subordinates. She raised an eyebrow, looking at me unhurriedly, without exposing my lie. How about you move to Crystal City? I said. Oh, and deliberately said, your friend's house. Bai Ningbing chuckled lightly and gently swiped the tip of my nose. It's mine. Silly. I was about to reply to her. You're not allowed to refuse. Either stay at the old house or stay at Crystal City. You can only choose between these 2 places. Who said I wanted to refuse? No rent, and I get to live in a big villa. Such a good thing falling from the sky. I wouldn't refuse. She leaned her lips close to mine, asking for a kiss. That's a good boy. Bai Ningbing lowered her voice and asked me, Zhu Taikun, is that system still with you? You still haven't successfully completed the mission. It's not going to follow you for the rest of your life. Is it? I suddenly understood her meaning. I couldn't help but curve my lips. Don't worry, it's not online all the time. Most of the time, it's offline. She breathed a sigh of relief. What's the progress at now? The system told me yesterday, 99.99%. Why not 100%? I was a little embarrassed. It's just missing a little bit. Bai Ningbing's eyes lit up, understanding immediately. She cleared her throat, hiding her panic and awkwardness. Do we need to plan it a bit? Quite in favor of it. Succeeding with the mission a bit earlier, getting the 1 billion sooner. There's nothing wrong with that. So I nodded. Okay. Miss Bai was surprised by my decisive answer. You agreed. Why wouldn't I agree? She was clearly a little shy, not daring to look at me. So, is there anything you want to say? I thought for a moment, and said seriously, train your body well. I look forward to your performance. Bai Ningbing's face flushed bright red. Hearing that I was moving to Crystal City, Grandma Bai and Annie Bai both expressed their approval. They even said they would hire a few maids for me there. I quickly refused. That's not necessary. Grandma, I can just hire a part-time cleaner when the time comes. Auntie Bai also advised Grandma Bai. Mom, young people these days, when they live together, they don't like having strangers in the house. Just let them decide for themselves. Grandma Bai laughed. Haha. All right. If you don't want to hire anyone, that's fine. When you kids are craving something to eat, just call. I'll have Auntie Lei make it and have the driver bring it over to you. This house in Crystal City, although not as big as the Bai family's old house, was fully furnished. It had everything. You could move in with just your suitcase. I had just moved in when Bai Ningbing moved in right after. She's been very diligent these past few days. As soon as she gets off work, she goes to the basement gym to lift weights. I really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. On Friday night, she hired someone to come to the house and make a very romantic candlelight dinner. She also went to the trouble of decorating the master bedroom on the 2nd floor to be cozy and romantic. We both knew clearly what was about to happen. Everything was falling into place naturally. Neither of us ate much at dinner. We both went upstairs to shower and brush our teeth, followed by a passionate make-out session. As the lanterns were lit, the day the system left me was a day with clear blue skies. Looking at the not-so-long string of zeros after the number 1 in my account, I almost couldn't count them all. Host, congratulations. From now on, you're a normal person. You must be happy. Just now, when I closed the control panel, the mission progress was already at 500%. This proves that during these 5 reincarnations, Bai Ningbing has always loved you. This time, you've really made me proud. My colleagues all say they've never seen such a high mission progress score. The main system has assigned me a new host. I'm about to go on a new mission. I was a little emotional. For a moment, I didn't know what to say, having been with it for so long. It was like an old friend. System. Thank you for your companionship all this time. I wish you a bright future on this journey, and hope you complete your new mission soon. In my head came the sound of a low-energy alarm. Host. Leaving now. Oh. Right, because of your excellent performance on this mission, I applied to the main system for you, and by needing to have a 5-lifetime love affinity, the main system has already agreed. On the night of Lin Cern's birthday, Bai Ningbing took me with her, and then formally introduced me to everyone. Everyone was originally having a good time, until Su Beiju walked into the private room, and saw me and Bai Ningbing sitting intimately together, hand in hand. She immediately lost control, and rushed forward to slap Bai Ningbing across the face. This time, it caused a huge scene. Bai Ningbing mercilessly knocked her to the ground. Everyone rushed over to pull them apart. Su Beiju's eyes were bloodshot, her expression agitated. Bai Ningbing, are you sking crazy? You even steal your sister's man. Do you even know who he is? Bai Ningbing didn't want to bother with her, and had no interest in staying any longer. She walked over and took my hand. Honey, let's go. I let her hold my hand, with an obedient expression. From behind came Su Beiju's teeth-gritting growl. Bai Ningbing, if you dare to walk out that door, don't blame me for turning on you. We won't be sisters for the rest of our lives. Someone turned back and sneered. Then I have even more reason to leave. Besides, I stopped wanting to be sisters with you 800 years ago. Just as we left the club, Zhu Taikun, Su Beiju rushed over and blocked my path. Her expression was heartbroken, pain swirling in her eyes. You're just leaving like this. Aren't you afraid of dying again? If you leave Bai Ningbing now, I can consider being with you. I'm serious. I looked at the woman in front of me. I never expected the legendary wife-chasing, crematorium plot to happen to me, after I had already died 5 times. Indeed. Love that comes too late is cheaper than dirt. Su Beiju, haven't you noticed that in this life? I never once looked for you, because my mission target hasn't been you for a long time. Let's not cling to each other anymore. Let's leave it at that. She looked as if she'd been struck by lightning, standing frozen on the spot. Due to extreme shock, her expression was completely frozen. For a long time, there was no reaction. Seeing that I was about to leave, she subconsciously pulled me back. Her tone panicked. It's impossible. If it's not me, then who is it? After saying that, she seemed to suddenly understand something. Her gaze immediately shifted to Bai Ningbing. With disbelief, a cold look appeared between Bai Ningbing's brows. She took my hand and continued walking forward. Su Beiju suddenly pulled me back again, staring at me intently, her whole body trembling. Her voice was hoarse. Zhu Taikun, do you dare to say that for the past 5 lifetimes, you approached me solely for the mission and never liked me? I laughed out loud. What's there not to dare say about it? It's the truth. Do you know what you're like? A stone in a latrine pit, stinky and hard. If it weren't for the reward money, I wouldn't have bothered with you for so long. Fortunately, in this life, I'm finally free of you. Don't you ever stand in front of me again and put on that deeply in love act. It makes me want to puke. Bai Ningbing looked at me, her eyes sparkling brightly. The next second, she actually, right in front of Su Beiju, told me, baby, you're so good at scolding people. While Su Beiju was about to cough up blood from anger, Bai Ningbing pulled me away. She even praised me enthusiastically in the car. As expected of my Hua Ti Khan, you're so good at scolding people. It was so satisfying for me to watch. Is it really okay? What? Didn't you two know each other since you were very young? Bai Ningbing shook her head. If it weren't for you, I would have cut ties with her a long time ago. I was actually a little curious. When did she realize my identity? She pondered for a moment. Her delicate peach blossom eyes stared intently. The 3rd time you appeared by Su Beiju's side, I read a strange story in some magazine. It was about systems and raiders. The book said that every world has a main system, and under the main system, there are many subsystems, and each subsystem is bound to a host. Together, they complete the missions assigned by the main system. All hosts who fail to complete the raiding mission will die continuously and then be reincarnated, reborn with a different identity, to appear beside the raid target. It's very strange. I didn't doubt the content of the book at all, because I immediately thought of you. I thought of your strange death in the first life. Then I thought about the second life, how you greeted me at the bookstore. You were clearly not the same person, but you gave me an inexplicable sense of familiarity. At first, I was just suspicious. Then I gradually started paying attention to you, observing you, and even following you. My expression must have been very surprised. Paying attention to me, observing me, following me. How could I have been completely unaware of what she was saying? So what happened after that? Bai Ningbing chuckled lightly. She patted my head. After that, there was a time you got drunk. You were alone at a roadside eatery, cursing and complaining for a whole hour. When I carried you back to your rented room, you kept muttering something about the next life, not wanting to be a raider anymore, that whoever wanted the reward could have it. It was also at that moment that I finally confirmed your identity. I vaguely remembered that. During the 3rd attempt to raid Su Beiju, I did get drunk once, and then I happened to run into Bai Ningbing. I don't remember much of what happened after that, so that's how it was. I felt a bit embarrassed. The 2 of us drove home. I remembered Lin Tu En Heen mentioning that evening. That Bai Ningbing's birthday was only 10 days away from his, so Bai Ningbing's birthday was coming soon too. I excitedly ran to ask her what gift she wanted. Someone tucked a strand of my hair and wrapped it around her finger, then kissed my cheek. Anything is fine, as long as you're the one giving it. I'll like it. How can you be so casual about it? You have to name something. It doesn't matter how expensive it is. After all, I'm a rich man now. Baby, you've struck it rich. Of course, I've already received the raid reward. How much was the raid reward? How did we end up on this topic? I didn't dare say much. I cautiously mentioned a number. 100 million. After Bai Ningbing heard it, she let out a heavy sigh. Then she took a card out of her wallet and gave it to me. Huatai Khan, this card is for you. I was stunned for a moment. Why are you giving this to me? Bai Ningbing stroked my head. Her expression was a little sad. It's nothing. It's just that when I think of you having to die so many times, for a mere 100 million, my heart feels very heavy. From now on, if you want to buy anything, just use your future wife's card. Swipe it freely. My eyes stunk. What is this? Wasn't I the one who wanted to buy her a gift? Why did it turn into her giving me money? So how much is in this card? Bai Ningbing thought for a moment. Probably about 10 times your reward. Oh, I get it. It seems my future wife is indeed very rich. Her savings are as much as mine. Huatai Khan, Sorry. Bai Ningbing suddenly hugged me tightly, saying to me seriously, why are you saying sorry? If I had confessed to you sooner and just given you 100 million, wouldn't you have been spared all this suffering? Silly. How could that suffering have been in vain? Because in the end, I waited for you. Epilogue. Su Beiju got into a car accident when she heard the news that Huatai Khan and Bai Ningbing were engaged. At that time, she was driving home. Suddenly, there were over 99 new messages in the group chat, so she clicked on one of them and understood why the group was so lively. After Su Beiju heard, her whole being was in disarray. The flames of jealousy in her heart were about to burn her to ashes. For the past 5 lifetimes, Huatai Khan had been like a puppy clinging to her side, not even sparing a glance for any other woman. So many of her friends were envious of her luck with men. Although Huatai Khan was a raider, he was really handsome in almost every life. His appearance perfectly matched her aesthetic taste, especially in the 5th life. He was a total 90s Hong Kong-style handsome man. During the nights they connected, she almost forgot about Ito Makoto, almost agreed to be with him for life. But in the end, reason triumphed over desire. He was just a raider. That's right, he was a monster, and the fate of this monster was held tightly in her hands. He could only ever try to please her, look up to her. It was useless for those women to be jealous, because his eyes had never stopped for any other woman besides her. Su Beiju, during the 5th raid at Kaifeng Mountain, she was originally considering whether to accept Huatai Khan's confession, but when she inadvertently turned her head, she discovered that while he was talking, he was smiling at another woman. Su Beiju instantly flew into a rage. How could he smile at another woman? Didn't he know what a smile like that meant to a woman? Perhaps that very night, that woman would recall his smile while doing some disgusting things. Why couldn't he have some self-respect, be a little more reserved? So when Huatai Khan confessed to her, she rejected him without mercy, and even mocked him cruelly. Huatai Khan, stop licking my boots. I'd recognize you even if you returned to ash. To tell you the truth, even if I jumped from here, I would never be with you. She wanted this rejection to be a punishment for Huatai Khan, to see if he would still dare to smile carelessly at other women. After all, he was immortal, even if the raid failed. At most, after 2 months, he would come scampering back to her side. As expected, 3 days later, she received news that Huatai Khan had been run over by a truck on a busy street. When she first heard, Su Beiju felt a slight pang in her heart. Getting run over by a truck must be very painful. It seemed like he always died a tragic death. But then she thought of the moment he unguardedly smiled brightly at another woman on the mountain. Bright eyes, sword-like brows, an outstanding demeanor. Forget it. He brought it upon himself. Hopefully, Hell raid properly in this life, and not make her angry anymore. Maybe if she's happy, she'll agree to be with him. But Su Beiju never would have expected that she had miscalculated. Huatai Khan was about to get engaged to another woman. How could this be? His raid target was clearly her. Why did it change to Bai Ningbing? Why? Overwhelming regret washed over her. Su Beiju angrily honked the horn loudly. She felt like she wanted to kill someone. Her anger reached its peak. The gas pedal under her foot was pressed harder and harder. At a turn, Su Beiju perceived a blinding flash of light, immediately followed by a loud bang. Then she knew nothing more. When she woke up again, Su Beiju discovered she was no longer named Su Beiju, but Thamo So. What the hell? But when she saw herself in the mirror, something called fear spread throughout her body. It was a face she didn't recognize at all. What's going on? What is this situation? At this moment, a crackling sound echoed in her head, like an old TV with a bad signal going on strike. After a splitting headache, it suddenly became quiet again. A clear, mechanical voice rang out. Congratulations to host 238 for successfully binding with the raid system. Raid target characters: Ito Makoto, Deep Chu. Su Beiju finally understood, so she had also become a raider. Deep Chu. She remembered. Deep Chu was Huatai Khan's name in his 6th life. The immense joy almost made her faint, so she chose Deep Chu without hesitation. She had decided, this time, It was her turn to raid him. System 238 was speechless. Extremely speechless. It couldn't remember how many times it had advised this foolish host to change her raid target, but the other party wouldn't listen. She had already died 15 times. 15 times. Damn it. Does this person have masochistic tendencies? No, this is already suicidal. Choked to death. Drowned. Died in a car crash. Died from poison. She had experienced almost every way to die, but every time she was reborn, she would tirelessly choose the same raid target, Deep Chu. That's right, that was the name of that raid target, a man who married into a wealthy family. His wife was the heiress of the Bai Thai group. She had both beauty and money. It didn't understand where its host got the nerve to pester someone every time, wanting to raid someone else's husband for herself. Host, I advise you to change your raid target. I just consulted the main system. Deep Chu and Bai Ning Bing are fated for 5 lifetimes of love. This life, the next life, the life after that, the life after the life after that, and the life after the life after the life after that. They will all be together. The two of them are destined lovers. If you keep refusing to change your raid target, if you continue like this, you will die several hundred, or even thousands of times. I'm not kidding you. Hearing this, host 238 was stunned. 5 lifetimes of love. Is it true? So between her and Horti Khan, was there absolutely no possibility anymore? No, she didn't believe in fate. What 5 lifetimes of love? What destined lovers? Nonsense. She was determined to snatch him back, just like how Bai Ningbing had snatched him away from her side. She swore she must snatch Horti Khan back. The interface appeared before her eyes. Host, please select your raid target. A. Ito Makoto. B. Deep Chu. Without a moment's hesitation, she pressed option B. The next second, the system's cursing voice rang out. Damn it, are you insane? If you want to go crazy, don't drag me down with you. Holy shh. Somebody save me. How do I unbind from this host? I can't take another damn day of this. End of story.